Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm very excited and thrilled to have you here. It is a beautiful sunny Thursday afternoon here in Chicago, and I have two of the most beautiful women joining me for a style chat. And remember, this is all about inspiring you to look and feel your best every day, as well as showing you how easy it is to mix your vintage with your modern. So I have two beautiful women who are joining me from the blog A Fashionating Life. They recently collaborated with us and have a blog post up over at their website. So you'll have to be sure to check that out. And they're talking all about how to do that vintage modern mix. So if you're just new to joining us, I'm Veronica Stout. I'm the founder of Vintage Meet Modern Jewelry and Styling, and my passion is helping women look and feel their best by dressing in details. And our secret sauce is that gorgeous collection of curated vintage jewelry that we put together for you to be able to seamlessly mix with whatever you are wearing today. So I'm very excited. I'm going to have them hop on here and join us. I'd love for you to go ahead and give a warm welcome to Jennifer and Ellen. I'm going to go ahead and add them to the screen. This is fun because we have a trio here today. Usually we have a duo, but welcome Ellen and welcome Jennifer. I know I want to talk all about that lariat and talk all about those KJL earrings. Welcome, and let's go ahead and get to know you a little bit better. I'd love for you both to go ahead and introduce yourself and then tell us all about A Fashionating Life.
A Fashionating Life. Well, I'm Ellen, the co-founder of A Fashionating Life. And Jennifer and I used to work together, and a friendship developed from there. And a lot of it had to do with, we just loved each other's style, and we were always like shopping together and for each other and sending each other links. And I've always wanted to start a fashion blog. And we were talking about the lack of representation of women who look like us in the influencer space. I'm 47. And, the influencer space is $1 billion a year industry, and it's very hard to find women that look like me. And, when I'm looking for inspiration on something to wear to my job, the average influencer is a lot younger. They're usually in their 20s, and many of them have actually never worked in an office. So that was another impetus for really starting this blog, to give a place for women who, like us, to go to see ourselves and how we are dressing for actual careers and children that we have, and juggling it all and looking well on a budget. And part of that is including vintage and purchases off of the secondary market to really give yourself an individual, style.
And Jennifer, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Jennifer, and as Ellen said, we began by working together. And I was just on a call last night with another group talking about, branding yourself through your fashion and how you dress and your style. And I said, we were in an office full of women, and we all were so excited to get dressed for each other every day. It was such a treat to come to the office every day. And as Ellen said, we would shop together and send each other links and say, hey, you need this. And then more than once showed up at the office wearing the same thing. So pretty quickly, hey, this is a style match made in heaven, and we need to do something with this. But I think also she and I both were blessed with pretty fashionable moms and who held on to a lot of their vintage fashion, or new to them at the time, but vintage to us now, from the times when we were young girls. And so our moms both were the queens of the caftan, by the pool, and we've inherited some of those pieces. And I think that as much as anything has strongly influenced our personal style and our personal brand and our love for vintage. So.
Mm-hmm. And we also are the generation from Pretty in Pink. So right. We grew up going to thrift stores and what they call upcycling nowadays, cutting things and tweaking them to fit your personal style when you got them at a thrift store for very little money. I grew up in LA. I wanted to be, a creative. I was into a performing arts program. And so I found a lot of support in creativity and self-expression through fashion and thrifting. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I always say women don't usually outgrow playing dress up. And so this is just a very big way for us to play dress up. But like I said, we have a bigger mission, and we want to make sure that, you always hear women in their 40s, like actresses and models, when they hit their 40s, they say that all of the, opportunities and job offers started to become invisible and dry up, and they didn't think anybody saw them anymore. And, my point is, you're some of the most talented and beautiful women in the world. And you feel invisible. How are us mere mortals supposed to feel when we can't find ourselves in a blog? And so, we started one to give a voice to, women in their 40s have plenty of style. We have the confidence to wear it. And we usually have the discretionary income to go out and purchase those things at this age. And we have been doing the vintage thing for a very, very, very long time. And I'm glad to see that, sustainable fashion is becoming more of the mainstream rather than the alternative way to getting dressed. And jewelry is a very, very, very big part of that.
Very good part.
We always tell people that one of the best parts about the jewelry is that it's really easy if you've never worn vintage or if you've never worn other things, because it always fits. And the second of all is, of course, the quality is amazing. So if you have a piece that can be over 50 years old and have it still look really current and it looks like it's still brand new, it just speaks to a lot about how things that used to be made and how well they're still being able to be worn today. So I love that you're talking about that. One thing that I would love for you to just quickly tell us is, where are you from? Where are you based out of?
Mm-hmm. So we're in Austin, Texas.
And how long have you had the blog for?
About little over a year and a half. Yeah. We are non-digital natives, so
we're all non-digital natives.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in your 40s, and I always say, like, my senior year was the first year they stopped teaching typing, and they got rid of the typewriters, and they actually put in computers, and you learned keyboarding, but there was still no internet until I graduated college. So, when we started, it was, I don't know how to Insta story, but we have a love of fashion, and we just, we feel like we have a really good message. We always get asked where we find our things, and so many people are stunned when we say it's secondhand. I got it at Goodwill. I got it off of eBay. Or even it came from my mom's closet. Fashion is cyclical. We don't have to look much farther than current trends right now. It's all about the 90s. I'm seeing trends that from my childhood that have come back in. So I've always hung on to stuff. I did a post recently where I was in a jumpsuit that was like $9.99 at Goodwill, and I bought it years ago and hung on to it. And now you can pretty much get the exact same silhouette from Ula Johnson, only it's going to cost you about $600. So. Mm-hmm.
That's something that I do like to bring up. So you've done a wonderful job telling us all about like what the inspiration was before your blog and how you love being able to show so easily that, real women get dressed. And I love that. That's something that we talk a lot about here, and something that I love actually even about Vintage Meet Modern is that I felt that it was underrepresented the same way that you did. That you could totally mix your vintage and your modern. We're not supermodels, or we're not so young over here that, we haven't actually had an appreciation for not just fashion, but confident personal style that's going to empower you. And I think one of the fun things though also is that we actually probably have things that this is something I love reminding people who are just beginning to start their style journey is that many of us may have purchased something brand new, because I know we're all shoppers here too. I purchase things that are brand new too. But if you take care of them, they will become your vintage down the line. So that being the case, I'm going to ask you my next question. I'd love for you both to answer is, why does personal style to you matter so much? And what do you want other women to know about personal style?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Well, I think Jennifer tells it best. It's whether or not you want to be an influencer or not, we are a visual screen literacy company. I have gotten jobs recently where I've never met anybody in person. It's all been interviews over Zoom, and this was before coronavirus. People are working remotely all the time, more so now. You have to put a headshot on LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn page, recruiters probably don't want to talk to you. It's more like personal style is actually becoming a personal brand, whereas branding used to be something that was for companies only, and maybe celebrities like Beyonce has a brand she needs to protect. That is trickling over into everyday life for basically everyone. We're always on camera. We always have our phones. People are always taking pictures of things. If you apply for a job or anything like that, employers are Googly searching you and looking at your photos and how you represent yourself. So I think that developing your personal style is really investing in your brand and helping you put your best face forward, whether or not you see yourself as actually, needing that because you're not an influencer. Your image is out there and it's very, very, very important to you personally and professionally. And people need to learn how to be able to represent themselves in a way that is true to who they are, that makes them feel comfortable, not just comfortable, but makes them feel like incredible about themselves. It doesn't stop with the clothes, but it can be a place to start. One example I always give is if you are the young woman who is walking into the corner, C-suite office facing nothing but middle-aged men asking for your first raise, and you're intimidated and scared and you don't know what to do. Well, how many times have we as women found that most amazing power suit or perfect sheath dress or even a pair of earrings or a pair of shoes that make us feel like, no, we actually got this. Like, I've got the image and that's what's going to seep into my insides. That's nowhere, I'm not saying that that's all it is and that's where it should stop. But that is definitely something that we do as women. And it's very powerful to be able to harness that. It's owning your power, whether or not you think it's vapid because it's just what you're wearing. It's not. It is part of your power. It's a power, how you look and taking control of your personal style is really taking control of the story you want to tell the world.
Yeah, I love that. And, we actually refer to those specific pieces at Vintage Meet Modern here, your anchor item, that one that empowers you and always makes you feel good about yourself. So Jennifer, what does personal style mean to you?
Well, I'll piggyback on Ellen's comments, but and again, I talked about this last night with a group of women who were going through an executive coaching seminar, and talked about how your personal style and how you present yourself really shows how you value yourself. And if you don't value yourself enough to put on, whatever outfit it is that makes you feel like a badass, or put on that statement piece of jewelry or that anchor piece, or, put your face on, fix your hair, whatever it is, then why would somebody else value you? It's really investing, like Ellen said, it's investing in yourself. And personal care does not, it does not end at a bath bomb. I have a girl who says that all the time. Self-care does not end at a bath bomb. And
self-care is not just manicures and pedicures.
Right. Self-care is more than a nap. So this is part of self-care and your personal brand and personal style and sort of your signature look. I mean, I was saying last night, I generally wear a V-neck or a button-up shirt that's got a collar on it because I like the way that elongates my neck and my frame. I have linebacker shoulders, so that sort of shifts the gaze to a different perspective. And so you learn what makes you look good, and when you look good, you feel good, and you're going to present better. It's, even when my son was small, people used to tease me about dressing him up like little Lord Fauntleroy and all these cute outfits with smocking and stuff. And I said, I promise you, when I dress him in that, he behaves better. That can be extrapolated into our careers and into our professional lives. When we dress professionally and feel good, we present better and we perform better.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that now who may not have, if you've never worked from home before. I know that I feel way more productive. And I do feel like I get more done if I actually take the time to get out of my pajamas and not put on my daytime, daytime pajamas, but to, I don't put full face makeup on very rarely these days when I'm working from home, but I do get dressed and I do make sure that I look presentable, and I feel like I am a lot more productive, and it helps with my mood as well. If I did it 1 week, I was as a woman, you have those times when you're just not up for it. And I feel like that week went a lot worse for me because I didn't actually force myself to get dressed, that my being in my pajamas and feeling sweaty and gross actually compounded to the negative headspace that I was in. So.
Oh, for sure. We talk a lot about that. And, that leads me into talking about getting dressed, which is how I even found your blog and was inspired by it. And it's also this fun dynamic in which there's two of you, and there's no denying here. I see two very different styles. I see two women who appreciate getting dressed differently. So working together was really a lot of fun. And one of the things that I would like to point out is that, well, we did do a sponsorship together and you did get to pick out items. You picked out very different items. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about working with us, and I'd love for you to talk about how you picked the pieces that you did, because I think the audience is going to learn a lot about rethinking how they pick pieces. But I also think they're going to feel really empowered about different styles and different perspectives, especially since we've been talking about what it means to both of you. So tell me about why you picked the pieces that you did.
Well, you picked yours first, Jennifer, and we may have different styles, but I've already been like, and you need to leave me that lariat.
Right, I know. We do have different styles, but like I said before, we oftentimes would show up in the same outfit, but styles completely different. So there are things in Ellen's closet that I'm like, when you get tired of that, put it over here or leave it in your will.
Yeah.
So this piece, I've always loved the look. First of all, I love chunky gold jewelry. And I'm a big girl. I'm 5'11", linebacker shoulders, so I can pull off big jewelry. It's a blessing. I love big jewelry. So the chunky gold was the first thing that caught my eye. But I've always loved the look of a lariat necklace. And it's hard to find one that isn't really dainty and delicate that just would get lost on me. So I never had bought one. So when I found this, I jumped on it immediately. And I couldn't believe that it was even available. I loved the little gold baubles on the end. And then I looked online at different ways that you can wear a lariat, and I'm wearing it very much in the traditional way, and as well as the way I live on the blog. But so many different ways you can tie it. So you can wear it as a choker. You can tie it loose. You can leave it hanging almost like a loose necktie. You can wear it to the side. I even was able to string it through my blue jeans and wear it as a chain belt. So a lot of different ways you can wear it. And I think that as a working mom juggling so many things, we're always looking for what's a versatile piece, but also what's not just that plain black dress. A plain little black dress, it's versatile, but they're also a dime a dozen. So what is versatile, but still going to make a statement and stand out and look different from your run-of-the-mill necklace? And so that's really what drew me to this.
Yeah.
And I do want to just tell you just quickly before I let Ellen go, I was really excited that you picked that piece. And besides mentioning your blog post, all the different versatile ways to be able to wear it, that piece actually is considered a book piece here at Vintage Meet Modern. And it's photographed in the Monet Masters book. The piece that you have on is from the Bolero collection, and it was one of the best-selling pieces of Monet jewelry of all time. But it has been on the cover and on the back of so many fashion magazines for decades.
Awesome.
Real collector piece
find that.
Don't worry, I'm gonna tell Ellen all about the special piece that she has too. But you both also picked pieces that, historically speaking, are not just timeless, but they're important designs that have been recreated but appreciated by women because of their versatility and their ability to be able to wear it over and over again. So that's a fun fact, and I will send you a picture of it actually in the book that it was photographed.
I would love that. That makes it even more special because I love.
Yeah, now you definitely have to will it to me.
Yeah. And I do. I want to see the other way, so we're going to talk about that now with Ellen. One of the fun things about it is that the jewelry really is something that will always be unique to you and will be the part of finishing your look, but it will look very different on someone else depending on how they mix it with their personal style. So now tell me about the pieces that you picked.
I'm an earrings girl. So, that's where I started to look. I mean, it was so hard the way I ended up picking these two is because I love Kenneth J. Lane.
Yeah.
I just he's one of the few designers that's like on my to collect list. But I hadn't found the right pieces yet. So I was really excited when I saw these. I used the same principles of like shopping too. I don't have a lot of white earrings. I have a lot of hair, more so now because I on lockdown and I haven't, sorry about Corona bangs, but I have a lot of hair. It can get very cousin itty. And so I looked for these earrings. I figured they were small, but they would still stand out. You could see them because they were white. And I just love the colors. I just knew that it would be, I would just be a pair that I would wear all the time. And they're Kenneth J. Lane. And then the other pair I picked is these pave like leopards. I'm a collector. I feel that fashion is like art. I have certain artists that I collect or types of jewelry that I collect. It started because I'm a Leo, and my mom and dad bought me Leo, like lion things my whole life. And that over the years has just, expanded into a love of all of the cats and their animal prints and in fashion. And I have a lot of belts with lion heads and the pave bracelets with the animals on it and necklaces with the big cats on it. And I just thought these were so beautiful. And I didn't have any pave earrings that are like in my cat theme at all. And I love these. And I love that they have the twist. I mean, I love the twist backing that you just don't see anymore, which I wish a lot more clip-on earrings would do, because you can just make them a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, you can adjust them and they don't pinch your earlobes off.
Yeah, you can get it just right to where you're not cutting off your circulation, but they still feel like they're not going to fall off. They were just two pieces. I mean, it was like people collect things that I collect and I love, and they helped fill holes in my closet that I knew I would get a lot of wear out of.
Well, I love your blog, and that is actually how I stumbled across it, not just because of you representing another demographic. Your photos are beautiful, and your styles are really indicative of all the different kinds of styles that women can embrace to express themselves. But one of the other reasons why I really like talking about both of you, supporting you, having you work with us, is because you definitely both have a passion for mixing the vintage, the pre-loved, and the new together, which is another area we're not just talking about age and debunking myths. Let's talk about debunking the myth that vintage is uncool, out of date, not relevant to fashion. Nobody would want it. So I know. So talk to me a little bit about your relationship with mixing vintage, new, high, low, all of it together.
I mean, it just started as kids with having fashionable moms, going to thrift stores with my mom. One of my earliest memories is thrifting a princess Halloween costume with my mom for like third or fourth grade. And I won most beautiful costume. This vase and these dried flowers in it. And I had that whole vase thing for like through high school. And so that's like one of my earliest memories. And then like weekends when we would go yard sale shopping to find kinds of treasures. I think I really got into the spirit of hunting and digging from my mom. And then, over the years, sometimes the reason why I was shopping mainly vintage was because that, college student, that was all I could afford. I mean, I was a college student who was broke, still loved fashion, still wanted to dress nice. Buffalo Exchange became my second home, as did Goodwill. And so I would always find things, and people would always ask me, where did you get that? And I always was shocked that it was, Goodwill or Buffalo Exchange or Savers or whatever for a very cheap price. And then I just always loved vintage. I've always loved vintage. To me, it's like people have collected antique furniture for years and nobody thinks badly of that. I never understood where the problem with, buying on the secondary market or used was. And I think that, it's actually gotten a lot better. I think, with the sustainability factor, I do think that there is a lot of the stigma against it is coming down. sorry if there's any young people listening to this, but I mean, I'm sorry, but like thrifting has gotten so popular, the millennials are claiming that they invented it.
Well, I'm like you. I just want the best that I can have. And one of my fun client stories when I still used to do client clean outs and consignments and things like that was I worked for this really over the top woman who had this like really incredible Chanel collection. And when we were getting ready to put things back into the secondary market through auctions and everything else like that, she was like, well, would you ever kick a vintage Chanel piece out of bed? And I was like, no, can I have it? Like, what's your going price? So I totally,
and why pay full price if you don't have to? Do you know how many things I have found like on eBay that were, I mean, relatively new, I mean, Chanel never goes out of style. I would rather, invest in the frock market than the stock market because nothing has appreciated like a Birkin bag. It's outpaced like mutual funds, So yeah, and even if like, why pay full price if you don't have to? I have found Manolo Blahniks in Goodwill, and there's things like eBay and Etsy, and I mean, why? It's also better for the environment. It's better for your wallet, and most of the time when we're shopping like this, especially like on Etsy or with you, we're supporting a independent women-owned business, which I would much rather do than Nordstrom's. Love you, Nordstrom, but
Right. Mass retail. I think too, we have lived in the last decade or so in such a disposable economy. I think it's coming back around. I think, whatever this next generation is called is sort of getting the picture and going back to using and reusing and keeping and recycling and upcycling and that kind of thing. But I'm a collector of all things old. I love antiques. I love old cars. I use real china dishes and real silver that, I bought either at an antique store or that was my mother's. So just having those pieces, to me, they're investments. They're in not just a financial investment because they're going to oftentimes their prices and their financial value is going to increase, but they're sentimental investments, and they are just a nod to a time of better craftsmanship, more artisans' work, not mass-produced plastic, crap that you could just toss and buy a new one, when it breaks. So I'm much more interested in something that has a story, something that has character, something that has a provenance. I mean, we are shocked at the things that people get rid of that we find either in thrift stores or even in secondhand stores, and oftentimes things with the tag still on it. And I'm like, oh my God, I've looked for something like this for years, and I'm so excited now I get to buy it, at a fraction of the cost because it's quote used. But Ellen and I, that's one area that we definitely agree on, is that fashion is art. I mean, these are artists who are creating the things that we wear and the ways that we express our personal style, and they should be investment pieces. And we were blessed with sons, but our daughters-in-law are going to be damn lucky one of these days to get our collections.
Oh, I know.
And I was
2 boys.
In the beginning going, I'm going to pass these things on to my daughter, because I knew how much I loved and appreciated the things that my mother wore, and even seeing the pictures of her wearing it and then me being able to wear it in a different way. Just really sentimental. It means a lot. So I think that it's definitely an investment, and it's just somebody's handiwork.
Yep. Yeah. Now I have 2 boys, so now I'm like, I'm not passing this down to my daughter, but now it's become like grandma's future dress up box. Please, daughter. Please, universe. I have
2 daughters, and I have a son. So they both have a lot of appreciation for things. But I mean, that's another thing though that I do think is really important with raising children. And you just mentioned, Jennifer, the disposable world and everything. One good part about running a small business like this around children is that my children think very differently about the fact that their mother runs a vintage jewelry business. And that they think that, now they, even when they're going out and they're finding things and shopping for themselves and everything, it's not so much a stigma for them even that, ooh, everybody else has got brand new stuff. So they really have that mix of mixing the vintage, the modern, the new together. And I think that it's really important for more bloggers, more women, more businesses to talk about it so that we don't keep raising our children to just think dispose.
Right.
Yeah, I saw a news story yesterday that said Walmart is getting into the secondary market as far as fashion.
Wow.
And you know what? When you buy vintage, you know that it's not being created by some child in a sweatshop in a foreign country who's getting paid 50 cents.
Ain't that the truth? It's
a lot of
important
behind it in addition.
Yeah.
So let's talk about jewelry. And speaking of that, both of the pieces that you have and the ones that you had were handcrafted here in the US. They were cast and then made by American designers. So you can feel good when you invest in a piece of vintage with the jewelry. And we've talked a little bit about how, passing things on, the jewelry is always going to fit. But talk to me a little bit about why you love jewelry and accessories. I'd love to hear about how that this is an important part of how you get dressed. So tell me about your relationship with jewelry and accessories. I would love to hear from both of you on that topic.
It's like properly seasoning a dish. Like, I don't know. It's like that last hit of salt that just brings out all of the flavor and makes the dish really special. I don't buy everything secondary. I've got plenty of Zara. I've got fast fashion. I've seen people, I haven't gone to events yet where people are wearing the same thing I am, but I've seen people walking around with outfits that I have, that I've bought. To me, it's just really the icing on the cake. It's where you can take a ho-hum outfit to something really special that is uniquely you. That even if I'm wearing the same dress that another woman is wearing at a networking event, I'm going to have it completely styled differently, set off by pieces that are one of a kind and individual and cannot be, found very easily to copy that look. It's kind of like having your own signature stamp on things with your vintage jewelry.
Right. I'm laughing to myself because Ellen and I, we both immediately went to food analogies. She said it's like the final dash of salt in a well-seasoned dish. I was thinking it's like the sprinkles on a cupcake. The finishing touch, the pizzazz. And, for a long time, for me, it was the way that I could take a Target outfit when I couldn't afford anything better and jazz it up and make it look like more than a Target outfit. That's where really your high-low can come into play, because I had some nice pieces of accessories that had been my mom's that were passed along to me that I couldn't have afforded to buy on my own. And I couldn't afford to go buy a Gucci dress, but I could buy a Target dress and put on her designer belt, necklace, earrings, whatever, dress it. She was a big fan of headscarves. This was not one of hers, but I now, in the time of coronavirus and hair roots growing out, have become a fan of the headscarf. And my son keeps telling me I look like Mimey. But anyway, jazzing up a ho-hum outfit with some great accessories elevates your style quotient without having to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe or invest in expensive statement clothing. You can have statement jewelry that goes across the board and can mix and match with anything in your closet. I think the other cool thing about jewelry is it can also be the outfit. You could purposely wear just sort of a blank canvas outfit that you want to highlight that piece of jewelry, and the jewelry is the statement that time. Conversely, you could have your outfit be the statement piece and tone down your jewelry. So it's just so versatile and such a great way to accentuate it. You can either complement the piece or it can really stand out.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm a style rut and I got to get out the door, or I'm going to be late for something, my little black dress sheath for work, black pumps, and grab a bright colored necklace on the way out the door. And it looks like I put in a lot more outfit than just fell back on something that was like low hanging fruit as far as me figuring out an outfit, something very basic with a statement piece of jewelry. And Jennifer's lariat, coming from LA, a couple of friends of mine, we used to joke that like you could honestly be wearing like a wife beater tank top and jeans that cost less than $5. But if you have on like designer sunglasses, jewelry, purse, or shoes, you're fine. And I'm like, that necklace, if you could throw that on with a t-shirt and jeans, the t-shirt and jeans would be lounging around the house, but like throw that necklace on and a great pair of shoes and she's out the door for a date night or meeting the girls. And all she had to do was throw on that lariat.
Right.
Yeah, well, that was a perfect example. And for those of us who are just joining you, or if you're catching me on the replay, you do have to go over and see the blog post, because both of you showed multiple ways of wearing the jewelry with multiple outfits. And one was very dressed down with the lariat, and the other was with that incredible, memorable dress with the pleats on it that had such a couture look and feel to it. It was gorgeous. So I can't say enough about how beautiful your blog and how beautiful your style is, but it really does also speak to the testament of, you know, picking versatile pieces that can really make your look.
Right.
So that being the case, I do have another question for both of you, because we've been talking a lot about debunking myths. And I think that an important part that goes along with that is also, you know, inspiring other people to take the plunge. So before we talk a little bit about what else you'd pick at VMM, what I'd really love to know is, what do you want other women to know about shopping online secondhand, or trying to look for pre-loved pieces when you're out and about? You know, help us help other women feel inspired to embrace this as part of their personal style.
I think it's important to know your labels, especially if you're shopping online. I mean, it's hard to try on a new designer when you're ordering it online or seeing it online. More and more websites, I really appreciate this, more and more websites have almost like an interactive size chart where you're filling out a short little survey, everything from your height and weight and maybe your measurements even, but to your age and to your body type. So, and then they're styling that outfit that you're looking at online on a comparable model. So not everything that's being shown online is on a toothpick, but you're seeing models, fit models of all shapes and sizes, which I think is so helpful. So there's one thing, but knowing your labels so that you know, especially when you're looking on the secondary market, like even on eBay or some of the other, the Real and Luxury Garage Sale are some of our favorite spots to play on the secondary market. Where you're not going to be able to go try it on somewhere in a store and order it online in your size. But if you know that in this designer, they run small, or like Diane von Furstenberg, we both love and collect her wrap dresses. But I know that the sleeves are like pantyhose. They're so skinny. So I'm going to have to size up because of my giant shoulders and because of my arms are not twigs. So knowing that, it helps you figure out your size and what your silhouette's going to be when you're ordering something online.
That is such a good tip. I couldn't agree with you more. It also really speaks volumes to when you do fall in love with certain designers, to make sure that when you are looking in general, that, you know, it's always a great place to start if you already know something fits you well. So that is a really great tip for women in general, is to make some notes. You can certainly try on different things, but make some notes of the designers and the styles and the cuts that really do fit you really well.
Yeah.
Now, Ellen, tell me about what some of your tips for adding pre-loved, vintage, online shopping, brick and mortar. You do it all, so you tell me about.
Yeah, brick and mortar.
Let me just interject. Ellen, I have said this, is an eBay ninja. She finds the most amazing things on eBay, whereas I get overwhelmed and it's like drinking out of a fire hydrant, and I give up because I'll go on and search like black dress. Well, whatever, that's 14 bajillion options. She hones in and she has found some of the most fabulous things that I am so envious of, that I just haven't had the patience or the skill to hunt down. So she's a master at this.
Years and years of practice. Well, I know my designers. Honestly, very rarely am I doing a non-specific search. Like, I wouldn't just make little black dress. I think the most like general search I have done lately is prairie dress, or like puff sleeve dress, because I'm really into that silhouette. And it's knowing your designers, it's knowing your decades, like, and knowing what you want. Like, there's so much. I knew that, like, I wanted like the Gunny Sacks kind of look, so I could get rid of like the 40s and, thing. It's really kind of getting it's like a search engine thing, honestly. Think of eBay as like a search engine, and the more terms that you have, the better results that you're going to get. But as far as like, I mean, that's what I like about starting off with jewelry is that fit really isn't a problem.
Yeah.
And you know what, if you're afraid to do this, start off at reputable places, start off at eBay, start off at The RealReal, start off at places where you have some buyer protection, that if somebody says it's a Chanel and you get it and it clearly isn't the place you bought it from, say eBay. I mean, I have had a dispute with one seller, and eBay put the world of hurt on them that they gave me my money back because they were shut it down. And it was because they said something was authentic and it wasn't. So you have that protection. It's almost like an insurance policy. If you want to get into clothes, some of my tips are, besides knowing, your designers, you have to know your body. I go to the tailor a lot. I have a very hard body to fit. I have large breasts, a small waist. So a lot of times I buy things to fit around here and have everything else taken in. I went to, when I was at my tailor, I said, I want my professional measurements by you. You tell me exactly what my 36, 24, 36 is, because I've measured and I don't know if I'm getting in the right way. So most places do give you measurements. So I won't buy anything that's less than 37 inches around the chest, because I'm a 36D and I need extra room for that time of the month, or a push-up bra. I know what my measurements are, so I can pick clothes based on that a lot, and read every single little thing in the listing. I am a decades-long eBay professional, and I have been burned because I just didn't read the whole listing, and what came wasn't what I thought I was going to get. And when I went back to the listing, I was like, oh, well, this is on me, because it clearly said that. I saw a Fendi bag once that I didn't read all the way through, as the only example I'm coming through up with. And when it came, it didn't have like the shoulder handle. It only had like a top handle. And so that was a little like, wait, what? So now I have to use it as a briefcase, which is fine. It's still a cool bag, but I really thought I was getting a shoulder bag, and I wasn't. And had I read it, I don't know if I would have pulled the purchase, on that. So.
Well, VMM, we take that very seriously here. And that's the reason why we also really try to disclose as many details as we can, because you hit the nail on the head with two things that I think are really important for online shopping, which is, one, it is like a search engine. So you can be as specific as you want, and it will really help you find that unique piece that you're craving. And then also, we love being able to take pictures of real women wearing the jewelry, because even if you're not that size or that shape, at least you can get a scale as to how big the earrings are or how long the necklace hangs, which I think is so important for people to build their confidence.
Yeah, I love that you give us a size thing a lot. Like, you'll put a quarter next to the earrings. So I'm not expecting it to be some big statement thing and I get a stud. That's how
I know. Well, that's why it started. People were like, oh my God, I'll never forget when we first started the website and somebody was like, it's so unprofessional to put a quarter next to things. Everybody just reads that. And I was just thinking to myself, no, it's not, because people can picture a quarter up to their ear, or they can picture something that's smaller or larger, but they can't picture it necessarily unless they're running for a tape measure. So
I don't picture measurement. So if you tell me that earring is like 10 centimeters by 8 centimeters, like, I don't really get what that means. And that is something that has happened too. I have bought earrings that came a lot smaller than I was expecting, and they were truthful on the measurements. I just didn't get the right visual. It was a problem with my head. There were earrings that I thought about buying, but when I saw that it wasn't bigger than a quarter, I'm like, it will never, unless I'm wearing a ponytail, you won't be able to see them. So
I think that's really important. I remember when either Nordstrom or Neiman's started doing that with their handbags, because I like big handbags. Big handbags, big sunglasses make your butt look smaller. So I like big handbags. And sitting by themselves, it's like, again, they put the measurements, I'm like, 12 inches. Well, that's a foot. That doesn't seem very big. But when they put it on the silhouette of a human, you're like, oh, it's like a little baguette under my arm, or it's a big giant tote bag. Same thing with the jewelry. You can't tell when it's lying on a black piece of felt what it's actually going to look like. Seeing it on human bodies makes such a huge difference.
And I mean, it's just a practice thing. I mean, there's a specific pair of Dior shoes that I really, really wanted for a while. And I was searching Dior, like buckle, whatever. And I finally just went into some of the like hoity-toity like actual websites and found out they were called Conquest. So that way I could go back to eBay and start searching specifically for Dior Conquests. But you know what? When I have put in Dior shoes 7.5 and just scrolled, that's usually where I find the magic pieces that I just wasn't expecting. Because
the more you do, the more you learn and the more you find out about what you love.
Yeah.
So
there's like saved searches, and be nice to your sellers because they will. I've got some people on Etsy who are like, "Oh, I found these, Ellen, and before I list them, I'm giving you first right." And there's been some eBay people where I'm like, I really want a pair of Dior Conquest in size 7.5, 8. And the reason why I've stopped looking for them is because honestly, the seller that I was working with came to me and said, honestly, I swear to you, I love these shoes, but they're the most uncomfortable shoes I've ever worn in my life. And I want to prevent you from this torture. So,
well, speaking of that, I will put that.
That's the shoes I'm searching for.
Right. And so, you're just talking about having a good relationship and the fact that these are real small businesses and they're real people that are running them. I will put a link in the show notes and in the blog post when we get this one up that, we also know that you're just talking a little bit about designer labels and collectors and things like that. At VMM, we actually do have a form that if you are either on the search for a certain designer to complete your collection, or if you really, really love all Miriam Haskell or Kenneth J. Lane jewelry, we can notify you that we've gotten new pieces in. Or they're just like you said, there's holy grail pieces that we're all searching for. And, when you're working with real small businesses, but people that have also worked in this industry for a long time, our sources run pretty deep. We might not specialize in handbags or in, shoes here, but I do know other people that I'm more than happy to pass on clients to because we are part of a community and part of a relationship. And also, I do love adding that personal shopping. That was always my challenge when I worked in personal shopping still and worked at Neiman Marcus and everything was I really loved taking a customer or taking a client's wishes seriously and helping them find the perfect piece. So
yeah, I was going to say, Neiman Marcus offers that. Nordstrom's has personal shoppers. Those people, like I have been at Nordstrom's shopping when they're like, I'm calling my clients today because we got in new ALC. So big stores do it. Little businesses
do it. Challenge since the vintage is out of production, but I'm always up to a challenge here at VMM. So
I agree. I think for sure, several of the secondary vendors that we deal with and that we have bought from know a handful of key items that I would love to add to my wardrobe. It's not like an emergency that I need it for an event next week, but it's like, this has been on my wish list if you ever come across it. And they know that they'll call me. And one in particular, just sort of after working with them for so long, got to know my style. And anytime something London came in, she would call because she knows I'm 8 over London. And so, I didn't always buy it, but it was great to get a heads up and, hey, this just came in. We haven't put it on the floor yet, but if you want to come look at it, it's your size or whatever. So I think I love that you have that form on your website because this is like treasure hunting. And the more fingers you have out there digging, the more likely you are to find something. And it's also just an added level of customer service, which is so hard to come by nowadays.
Well, we love being the shortcut to helping people get what they want. And we also take very seriously providing products that can help women look and feel their best. So as we wrap up here, I would love to know, are there any other pieces related to Vintage Meet Modern that you might love on the website? Maybe if there's anything specific that you would tell other people to take a closer look at?
Oh, that gold disc necklace with the green and the red and that you just, oh God.
We just got that too. So
yeah.
An example
of your gold, like, was it Sunday that you did it? Yeah. I'm really seriously I love that place.
I was really impressed with your selection of earrings. And I know I didn't end up buying earrings, and Ellen's more the earring person than I am, but I was like, oh my God, I'm blown away by how many earrings there are. And that's sort of why I decided on a necklace, because I thought I'll never be able to decide on earrings. And instead of buying several smaller pieces, I wanted to to use my credit for one really big, great piece. But your earring selection and any of the enamel bracelets that are I'm going to say they're so popular right now. They've been popular. They've never gone out of style. Anything from like a bamboo look to even the ones that are like animal clasps are so great. So love all of
Thank
those.
you. Well, I'm glad that you were able to say that because, as we've been talking about, being able to have the confidence to shop for vintage and pre-loved and everything, I think it's also really important for other women to, again, think about, well, if they could do it, I could do it too. I mean, it's still a personal thing where we're not copying each other, but it does speak volumes about being able to get past any myth. And also, I want people to know in general that we're real women and we do like working with you and stuff. So we're always happy to answer your questions.
Yeah. And I mean, it's fashion. It's not brain surgery. Have fun with it. Buy a fun pair of earrings. I mean, I don't want to speak to anybody's financial situation, but it's not like one pair of earrings that you don't wear is going to hopefully not bankrupt you. It's a pair of earrings. Just put them on. Right. It's like one of my favorite things to do. And it happened, a while ago now because of lockdown, but there was this lady and she was, a little heavier than society would like. And she had on a lovely black sheath dress and she was wearing really awesome, like almost to her knee boots. And I don't know why. I just decided I really liked them. So I just said, you know what? I stopped her and I said, I just really wanted to let you know I love those boots. And she got so she's like, you do? And she was giggly, even though she was like a grown woman. And you could tell she's like, I've never worn anything. And they were black. I mean, she was wearing a black dress and black over the knee boots. And she's like, I've never worn anything this risque. And they're so out of my comfort zone. And I can't. And I'm like, girl, they're boots. What to put them on? Have fun. And I'm like, well, if you need that like validation, you're rocking the hell out of them. Like that is my favorite thing to do is to give a woman a compliment and find out that she was actually pushing herself outside of her comfort zone. And you kind of give her that like validation that she did something, that it worked out for her. Nothing to be scared of. You look fantastic. And I don't know if I'm just assuming that maybe she thought the boots weren't for her because she was, like I said, larger than society dictates is fine. Or maybe it's just her. She was very kind of, shy and stuff. But we ended up having a really great conversation and I made her day and sort of told her, she's like, I'm going to remember that. She's like, it's just fashion. Have fun. I'm like, yes, absolutely. Just do it.
Just clothes. It's just clothes.
It's just clothes.
Yeah. Well, so tell me, do you have anything fun coming up in the blog? Do you have anything that you're getting excited about telling other women about so that we can make sure that they stay in touch with you and they stay in touch with us? You got anything fun you want to share?
Well, we're having to do a little bit of what I call reswizzling on some of our content just because it isn't relevant for what we're going through right now. But what I developed there's always an idea that I wanted to do, but I started posting them together was finding those inspirations in Pinterest or in the catalogs and then going to my closet and shopping for it and recreating it using vintage pieces. That seems to have resonated really well with people. So we're going to continue to do that. We are, the good thing about us, not just getting dressed for a living, having careers, having children. I mean, Jennifer has her own consulting agency. I work in, corporate communications for FDA regulated industries. We can bring a lot more to our blog than just fashion. So we are going to be getting into talking about a little bit more with some career things and some kid things that we're really excited about sharing with people. We are going to be doing a styling session. This is something I'm really excited about. It's a whole new movement that I didn't know about. And it's called the flat chest movement. And it has come from a good friend of mine who was diagnosed with breast cancer many, many years ago and got reconstructive surgery. And I did not know this, but there's a lot of women out there who are getting complications and sick from their implants. And so it's a big movement among women who are suffering from breast cancer to go back to just being flat. And so we're going to be working with her on helping her figure out how to style this new body. And then about a month ago, we worked with another blogger and she and I did a live, on the truth behind menopause. And how it affected my fashionating life. I mean, it affected my body. It affected how I get dressed. It affected how I'm sleeping and the energy I have to want to get up in the morning and go and get dressed, and all of the side effects that we didn't know to expect with menopause. We did in one conversation between me and just another blogger. And we had people wanting us to continue with that. And so we're looking for some people to, have some professional experience to come and really talk about it. I didn't know that, hair loss, including eyebrows, was something that could happen when you were in menopause. I thought I was prepared for it. As I'm sitting here trying not to do this.
I think the main thing, and Ellen's touched on it so many times, that sets us apart from other fashion blogs is the real life. Like, we're pulling the curtain back. This is not just aspirational. We're real women. We have real lives. We're stumbling as we're figuring this out as we're going, and we're really unzipping and being vulnerable with our readers. This is like the true grit who we are, and we're going to laugh at ourselves and say, oh my God, I thought I could wear that skirt and it was way too short, and or whatever it is. And Ellen talking about menopause, and I have a post about losing 40 pounds last year and what that did, not just for my self-esteem, but to my closet. And so real life things that we all face and have to deal with. And so we hope that it resonates and speaks to people. And there's lots of beautiful aspirational blogs that we love looking at and being a dream girl. But
That's not us.
Ours is not there. So
we have crow's feet, we have bellies, we have actual budgets, we have jobs to get to, that we don't just wake up and take a picture of our outfit and that's what we do for the day. We're real women. This is really what we do.
We love clothes for clothes' sake, but we don't have the luxury of just wearing clothes for clothes' sake.
Yeah, I think that that's so important. And I also think that it's really, really important to be part of the sustainable fashion movement too. There's a certain level of responsibility that also goes along with getting dressed. The world is your runway, and it's an important part of expressing your personal style. But I do think that it's also really important for us to remember that the clothes have to serve the function for more than getting dressed. And we can't just live in a disposable world. You are both incredible role models of what real women go through, get dressed. And I do love that you both have very unique styles. And also, it's not cookie cutter. As beautiful and as wonderful and as inspiring as all of your images are, when we're talking about these visual imageries and even going to blogs for inspiration, it's beautiful, and it is like artwork because every post is different, and your overall messaging is the same. But in terms of the way that you wear things, that you look at things and stuff like that, it is far from cookie cutter. And that is something that we really love to embrace and talk about, being in part of empowering personal style. So
I want to have a great idea for our next piece.
So. And I'm excited. We are going to definitely work together again. We're coming up on an hour here, and this has just been incredible. I want to thank everybody who tuned in live with joining us. The replay of this will, of course, be going up shortly on Vintage Meet Modern with all of the details and some of the notes related to what we talked about. But in the meantime, you can go on over to A Fashionating Life and see the blog post that we did together, and also take a look at all the other incredible content that you make. But let's close with just quickly, how can we stay in touch with you?
Well, you can follow us on our blog at fashionatinglife.com. We are also on Instagram and on Facebook, and it's at A Fashionating Life. And we also were recently accepted to Like to Know It, which was a big validation for our blog. And so if we are wearing things that are available to be shopped, that you can just click on our page there and purchase it. And we make sure, or we're trying as hard as possible when we do post something to Like to Know It, that it is every single price point. Well, not every single one, things that we can afford and under, as well as trying to find images of women with, real bodies, as opposed to just putting up those pictures of, the skinny models. I'd like to give my money to companies that have a philosophy of inclusion. This was way before the blog. I love companies when I see a quote unquote plus size model modeling something that I'm thinking about buying. So we try to make sure that we're representing that as well. So yeah, that's where we're at, and you can find us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm very proud to have worked with you. So thank you for accepting the invitation. And also thank you for taking time out of your busy day to chat with all the wonderful women that are here. I know that they definitely got a lot of value out of everything. And we'll see each other all again real soon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yay. Well, this is Veronica Stout, and I am signing off with the lovely ladies of Ellen and Jennifer from their blog, A Fashionating Life. And meet us back again here next week, because we'll be having another jewelry party Wednesday, which is our big deal over here at VMM. And of course, be sure to check out our latest arrivals. All of our new things always come out on Sunday night, and they do move pretty quickly since everything is one of a kind, but I do promise the perfect piece always does go to the perfect person. So on that note, we are going to bid you all adieu, and I will see you all again real soon. Bye.
Bye.